Is that music?
No music.
There is no music when
we're... Hello, everybody, and welcome to this webinar. We're going to start. We're going to wait a few minutes more for the people who will connect, and we're going to start in just 1 or 2 minutes. You can write in the chat where you are from and maybe also what's the weather like in your part of the world. We have people connected from 24 different countries, so we have the whole world with us during this webinar. Hello to all those who are joining us. Hello, Laure. Hello, Felipe. Buen dia.
Bom dia. Slovakia.
Yes, we do have. We have somebody from Morocco. We have somebody from Mozambique. We have somebody from the States. It's a courageous person to wake up so early.
Good morning.
Good morning from Nasia from London. Hello, Raphael from Lyon. Hello, Elisa from Italy. Oh,
Buongiorno.
In Italy.
Buongiorno.
We are in, well, some of us are in Paris, and Patricia is in Lisbon, and in Paris we have a sunny weather today.
You said sunny, and I was saying cloudy, huh?
Cloudy. Today yes, we are.
It's a matter of a mindset. Yes, of course. There is cloud and there is sun, and it depends where you are focusing. It's good. Take the half full.
We are together in the same room with Jonathan, so.
Guten Morgen, München.
I can see more people connecting.
Samuela from Turin. Hello, Patricia from Paris. So we have Patricia in Lisbon and one in Paris. So it's 2 minutes past 11. We're going to start. So hello and welcome, everyone. I'm Valérie Denombel. I'm Project Marketing Manager, and it's great to have you here today. So for this webinar, we have people from 24 different countries connecting to this webinar. So it's a truly international event. Before we start, I'm going to give you some technical information about the webinar. It's going to be recorded, and you will receive the replay a few hours after the webinar. You will also be able to download this presentation. We are going to upload it in the Webiquio platform. And so if you connect there, you will be able to download the slides. If you wish to ask some questions, please do so. We have set aside some time to answer them at the end of the webinar. And if you have any technical issue or problem, Marie is sharing a number in the chat that you can call if you need to. So today we're going to look at L&D trends. Those trends emerged from the Cegos International Survey that was carried out last October, and it's called Transformation, Skills and Learning. And we are also going to share in the chat the link where you can access the survey and download all the results. But in this webinar, we won't be just looking at the trends. We're going to go beyond those trends, and we're going to show you actionable steps and takeaway as to what you can do with those trends. So before we start, let me tell you about Cegos very quickly. I'll give you two numbers. The first number is 50, and the second one is 4,500. 50 is a number, it's just over 50. It's a number of countries Cegos is operating in, either through its subsidiaries or through a network of well-recognized local partners. And 4,500 is the number of training experts worldwide who are like experts in their own fields and who are also know very well about the local culture and the local training approaches. The other figures we are displaying here give you a broader view about the Cegos Group. Cegos is a full-spectrum L&D partner, and Cegos is providing you with solutions in 3 different areas mainly. The first one is international training projects. It's about providing fast, simple, and effective deployment of corporate training programs worldwide. with the right level of customization. And ready-to-use training solutions is about creating a sustainable partnership to deliver a single training or an entire course portfolio across several countries. And last, the outsourcing and learning services. It's about supporting the efficient transformation and operationals of corporate L&D ecosystems. And the field of expertise you can see on the right-hand side is broad. Cegos can provide expertise in management leadership, soft skills, sales, project management, AI, and many more. So now, before we start, I'm going to give you some information about Patricia and about Patricia and Jonathan. Patricia is leading the Cegos Group Learning Collection. It's a key element for our ready-to-use training solutions. With her team, they analyze the challenges that companies face on a regular basis worldwide, and they conceive, design, and create the best solutions and technologies to ensure that the Cegos Group provides customers and partners with effective L&D solutions. Jonathan and his team are responsible for the evolution and harmonization of our global sales and deployment practices. They make sure that whatever we deliver to our customers in terms of learning and development solutions meet their needs and help them boost their performance. Patricia, Jonathan, I'll let you take over from here.
Thank you, Valerie. You know, I don't want to say one thing. Well, one thing that I like about working with Patricia is that she's always up to date and she's incredibly resourceful. Patricia, I have to tell you, I do not know how you do that. You have a secret, but you are continuously monitoring learning trends. And what is more, you know what is behind the trends. It is not magic to you because you actually know how to make it happen.
Yeah, thank you, Jonathan. And I also have two things that I like about working with you. Not only you bring a global and diverse view from working with our clients, but you also have this amazing energy throughout the projects. So thank you. It's a pleasure working with you.
Thank you, Patricia. I am blushing, I would say. You made my day. I suggest we present the agenda for this webinar. The first thing that we will do is to quickly bring some context on the Cegos Barometer, Transformation, Skills and Learning, edition 2024. And then, one by one, we will address 4 key chapters, which are for us essential drivers today that carry actionable insights. These chapters are time to competency, artificial intelligence, data analytics, and training approaches and preferences. And evidently, there will be a space for your questions and answers. In fact, we encourage you to bring your questions through the chat, and we will do our best to offer our view. So please bring them in, and we will take them as we go, or we will cover them at the end. By the way, also an important disclaimer, we will also ask you some questions as we progress. So please be ready to interact with us.
Yes, please. So bring us your feedback, comments, questions, because as you've seen in the title of this webinar, we want to go beyond the trends. So I've been working in L&D for more than 25 years, so I've seen many trends and buzzwords come and go. Our goal is taking one step further and provide key and practical actions you can take back to your organizations.
In a certain way, what you're saying is that you will talk about the so what, right?
Yes, so it's learning trends, so what? So we've set the stage. Are you ready to dive deeper in the topic?
I am ready.
Okay, so you can see some numbers on the screen with 3 conclusions from our Cegos Global Barometer. So we have 45% of digital learners saying they are already using serious games. 85% of companies are prioritizing digital learning. And according to HR managers, 42% of jobs in their companies are at risk of skills obsolescence. So I don't know if these numbers surprise you.
If they surprise me, I do not know. I am not very surprised, to be truly honest. Huh?
Okay, but there is a trick here, Jonathan.
What is
I didn't say was that these numbers are not from the 2024 barometer. So they are from, let's find out, So they are from 14 years ago, 9 years ago, and 5 years ago.
Okay. Now I am a little bit more surprised, I would say.
So one of the advantages of having the Cegos barometer since 2011 is that we can confirm that some of the trends that we are still witnessing today are in fact not new. So if they continue appearing in our survey, it's because they take a lot of time to materialize. And others are evolving or becoming even more important with the new generations. So for example, I remember in 1998, creating gamified CD-ROM. So I don't know in the audience if people remember when we were using
1998. Come on, you were in primary school, Patricia. Don't do this to me, please.
So we were already using gamification then.
Yeah.
But now with the new generations, it's even more important to create them. Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that we will see some of those cases later on. But can I add one comment before we move on? You see that there's a 42% figure at the right of this screen, and in the 2024 results, according to HR managers, attention to this, only 19% of jobs seem to be at risk of skills obsolescence in the next 3 years. So you see, some trends evolve, I would say, in the opposite direction that we would have imagined. Huh?
Yeah, well, that's indeed surprising. And this is why it's good that we can have these numbers for such a long time. So probably we are regaining some confidence now because we've gone through massive changes like the pandemic, the introduction of generative AI, and we are still here, right? We are surviving.
Indeed, this is where actually I would say this is a very good point. You said surprising, okay? You said surprising numbers, and we've seen surprising numbers of the past. But I would want to show some surprising numbers of these years, of 2024 barometer. The first one is 44. 44% of employees have used generative AI for learning. You would say, why is this surprising? Well, because the adoption of generative AI tools like ChatGPT, Midjourney, Copilot, it has been super, super fast for learning. This technology has progressed from experimental to mainstream in learning in really no time. And this is, for us, a major shift in how employees engage with learning because it also enables more personalized and more on-demand experiences. There's a second number which is to us surprising, which is 84%. 84% of HR managers are using learning data to enhance the learning experience. And this is surprising because it indicates how deeply data-driven strategies have taken more space in the stage of L&D. This shows a visible shift towards learning analytics. And this is a key trend that is helping organizations measure training effectiveness and guiding decisions. Now, I'm going to add a third number. 48% of HR managers use or are planning to use adaptive learning. And I know you talked about 1998. I don't remember when we started talking about adaptive learning, but it is one of those trends, names that are evolving in time. It is not that we are talking about the same we were talking 10, 20 years ago. It's been there for ages, but it's also true that, as we mentioned on the first point, with AI in the mainstream, it feels far more powerful and far more accessible to all.
Yeah, and don't forget that even the concepts, if they are the same, the tools are different when we need to benefit from them.
Absolutely. This is it. This is the redefinition of the concept. And now, my last figure, surprising figure, 27% of employees believe their skills are already obsolete. This means that they feel that their current skills are no longer sufficient to meet the demands of their jobs. This is associated with an important topic, which I believe is our first topic in the analysis of the barometer for today, which is time to competency. Am I right, Patricia?
Yes, that's correct. This is our first topic. And let's first speak about what is time to competence. Okay. So from the moment when a professional identifies they need to learn something or to enhance their skills, to the moment when the skills are gained, there is a period of time. I believe that you all agree that the shorter the period, the better, right?
Absolutely. Give it to me now.
Yes. So in a fast-changing environment, there is definitely a challenge. And we've analyzed how organizations are tackling them right now. So help me showing some numbers. Well, let's start with the key figure, the 20% that Jonathan just mentioned. Then you can see the actual split in this image. Is it either already the case for 7% or 20% for soon it may happen? And this is why not only for these 27%, but for healthy development of any organization, that you need to be agile in meeting the time to competence. So Jonathan, do you have any recommendations to achieve this, to reduce this?
I think that we will get there, but I would say that maybe it's a good time that we can see how the HR managers have replied and are meeting this challenge. Okay, maybe we can share, because there are some interesting points there. First, let's bear in mind that this is a self-assessment.
Yeah.
Okay, what you're seeing here is not a measuring of the time lapse between the needs appearing and the skill developing. However, I think that the graph shows a very interesting result. The first one is that the average note is 7.2 in a scale of 10. I do not know about you. Do you think 7.2 in a scale of 10 is approved? Is it very, very good? What would you say?
It's an average, but it seems high.
But it seems high, but I would say high. Well, it's not with honors, you know? It's not that I would stand up and say, bravo. But it is not that bad. It is not that bad. This is self-assessment. However, what is interesting is that 29% of HR managers self-assess their companies rather poorly. And only 22% seem to be highly confident in their agility regarding this challenge. And remember, this is a self-assessment. This leads us to say, what do we do? How can, as an organization, reduce time to competency? Even if we think that we're doing quite well, how do we do it better?
Well, we said and we promised that we would give things that were concretely for you to apply. So we bring 5 actionable tips to reduce the time to competence, so to shorten this period. So first, don't begin by listing the skills needed. Instead, focus first on understanding your organization's strategy. Only then should you define a skills framework that directly supports that strategy.
But wait a moment, Patricia. What you mean is skills first, but actually you say second to strategy. So strategy first.
Yes.
And then the second first is skills first.
Yes.
Right?
So the strategy is guiding your priorities.
Okay, I take it.
Okay. Then adopt a global and multimodal approach. What we mean is combine self-directed learning with face-to-face sessions and mix long and short formats to cater to diverse needs. So when speed and efficiency matter, such as a global rollout, turnkey and ready-to-use solutions can be also invaluable.
Yes, and also when you are intending to scale up to many different locations, am I right?
Oh, absolutely, Jonathan, absolutely. So then on the third point, what we say here is embrace agility in your L&D organization. So don't aim for perfection up front. You need to leave room to adapt your portfolio as you go. So please don't allocate 100% of your budget from the start, because from our experience, we know that some unexpected needs will arise within 6 months.
Absolutely.
So you need to leave some room to adapt quickly. Then on our fourth tip, I think it's not the first time we're speaking about AI, but it comes, of course, in our tips. Please leverage from generative AI and learning chatbots. I don't know if you've seen them already, but they can be amazing in providing real-time, on-the-job performance support.
Absolutely. You said the keyword, this is one of the best tools that we can have today for on-the-job performance support, which is one of the things that most learners, in fact, I would say all employee wants, to have access to learning in the moment of need, where they need it.
Yes, so it can actually be one of the most effective ways to enable continuous learning in the flow of work. And then finally, make sure you leverage on your internal expertise. I'm sure you have amazing people inside your organization. You just need to leverage on them. So identify the key contributors and subject matter experts, and then equip them with the skills they need to share their knowledge internally. Okay, they may be great, but maybe they're not prepared to share, right, Jonathan?
Indeed, this is what we see. Sometimes knowledge is there. Many companies are investing investing firmly, highly in upskilling their internal trainers. Well, I would say we have 5 tips, and this has been the first chapter, and I think that these are really very practical. So thanks for sharing. But is there anything else that we should do? Probably, maybe it's a good moment to break the ice and ask a question.
Yes,
definitely. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you, Jonathan. So we have a question for you. Among those five tips, what would be your priority? You will see on the left-hand side that on the right-hand side we have opened a poll. Please do vote. Do click on what your priority is. We have also added there an other. If there is another priority that you would see fit for your company, please add it in the chat so that we can maybe enlarge the tips and actionable practices with regard to time to competency. So we leave the chat, we leave this poll open a few more minutes. Please do vote.
Yeah.
I will put in my screen the 5 time to competency, okay, so they can remember them. But I think that they are in the poll.
They are in the poll.
Okay.
They are also in the poll, definitely, but it's good you have them on the screen.
I am becoming anxious. I want to see the results.
What do you think it will be number 1?
I like them all.
Okay. We're going to close the poll and you're going to see the results appearing on your screen.
I cannot stand the stress. Come on, show me.
So we have identified, so the first one, identifying the skills you need to implement your strategy. So strategy first and skills second definitely is a big high, as it's 50% of you have voted for this one. Then we have be agile in your L&D organization and leverage from generative AI and learning chatbot. We're about the same number. And the last one is about engaging and upskilling your international experts.
Okay, so Gen AI is not coming first.
No, the first one is definitely strategy first. And the one that has no vote is adopting a global and multimodal approach. This doesn't talk to everybody.
I am trying to sneak because she's not saying that. I am saying it's 51% on the first one. Okay, so it's by large, it's large majority that this is definitely important on something. However, all of the others are taking. I think that they are actionable insights, and in fact, they are inspiring, and maybe they can create a next step for each of you as well in your companies. Okay. So thanks for opening the poll. We're going to do this more because I am really very curious. I know that we have presented and we are presenting the barometer, but it's always a good opportunity to keep asking questions and asking more, because through the questions we get to know better the reality, understand the reality. So thanks for your responses in the poll. I think that we should move on to the second topic of the 4 that we are exploring today, which is artificial intelligence. Okay, we have already mentioned that, but it is a big subject. Of course, it's a big subject. I would want to start with an observation. The fear of being overwhelmed by technology, it's still growing, it is extending, and it is confirming the concerns that we had about the impact of rapid technological change. In fact, this fear is 7 points bigger than in 2023. And even if several studies had predicted a large-scale skills obsolescence, there has been rather a transformation, which has been big, but probably not as drastic as expected, or not as drastic yet. Bear in mind, there is already a clear gap between generative AI users and not generative AI users, and this gap will keep growing. So what we will now address is how AI is transforming the workforce, how it is reshaping the skills needs and training modalities. So what can we learn from these trends and transfer to our learning activities? We've seen in our survey that the main skills challenges in the next 2 years are linked above all to technological change, in particular to artificial intelligence and data, the other topic that we will cover today. In fact, when we asked about the key skills that they need to improve, 43% of the respondents said first, digital skills, which of course includes AI.
Yep.
As a number one.
But not only AI.
Not only AI, but certainly AI at the top. As anticipated in the opening, we have witnessed AI making a major breakthrough in the training in 2024, and the use is not isolated, and we cannot consider it as only experimental. Many companies are using AI in learning. That has been a statement. But in fact, what I would like is to ask this question to the people connected here. How are you using AI in learning? And you will see that some of the options will appear in the poll. We are giving you some options of, let's say, activities you can do in learning with AI, and we're really very curious. I think that they can respond to more than one, right, Valerie?
Yes, they can. They can respond to several answers.
But don't tick them all just to please me, okay? Just tick the ones that you are actually applying. Huh? I'm also very curious here. Would you want to know, Patricia, what people are doing? How they are using AI?
Because in this case, it's applied to L&D. It's not generic use.
Yes, that's why we are. It's true. The page here says, "How have you already used AI?" But we mean in your application to learning.
Yes, and I remember, Jonathan, the first webinar we did about AI was almost 18 months ago. So we already knew it was going to have a big impact on L&D.
Absolutely. And there were already some ideas that you shared there. I do not know if today yes, I know that today we intend to come back to some of those and in fact say what the results were of those implementations, right?
Yes. So Valérie, where are we with the results?
We are. So I'm going to close the votes.
Who's the winner?
Who is the winner? Oh, by far the winner is learning and a training content. By far, this is a winner.
Why do you say by far? Tell me the percentage. I am really very curious.
44%.
44%.
Then we have to define a learning strategy at 11%,
okay.
And create a training portfolio at 9%, and inside the LMS for adaptive learning, 9%.
That's interesting. I think that, Patricia, we will comment on some of those, and probably we will give some insights on how to do that, right?
Yes. And there is a number I kept there, also of the AI coaching, but we'll come back to that. So let's move on and dive a little bit deeper on this topic. I would like to start by sharing 2 other insights from our survey, and this one is about the impact of generative AI in L&D. So on the left, you can see that we've asked employees if they use tools like ChatGPT to learn, and remarkably, a total of 37% said they've either used it already or use it regularly. So keep in mind, this isn't about general use, but specifically if they are using these tools for learning purposes.
Indeed.
So on the right, we see that nearly 1 in 5 HR managers have already integrated Gen AI into teaching methods. So furthermore, 72%, and this is 3 out of 5, either plan to use it soon or consider it a possibility for the future. So these numbers are really striking, and they reflect how quickly organizations are exploring the potential of these tools. This also inspired us to go deeper into what's currently possible. So it's time to move to the so what part of this topic.
So what? Do you have 5 recommendations for us, Patricia?
Of course, we have 5 practical tips. So let's start with the first one. And actually, this is more or less the journey that we've done inside Cegos in the last 12 months. I have a question for all of you, and let's see after in the poll how it goes.
Okay.
Do you know how AI is currently being used in your L&D? So we do recommend that the first step is that you start by conducting an AI impact assessment So we've done this 1 year ago inside Cegos, and it actually gave us a better perspective on how and what we should do next. So, for example, we've created a cross-functional task force that was also including people from legal, IT, HR, and we also wanted to ensure compliance with regulations like the European AI Act. And one of the outputs was we created our own AI code of conduct for our teams that was focusing on safety, transparency, and non-discrimination. Okay, so this is something concrete. Then, implemented transparent AI-empowered learning systems. I propose that you start with a small pilot, for example, for learning path recommendations, and ensure this is a transparent process for the learners.
Patricia, you said transparent and transparent. Would you say transparency is something that can help overcome the resistance to new technology?
Of course, because if people understand how it works, they are much more likely to embrace it and they don't fear it that much. Mm-hmm. So then, please make sure you leverage on your AI-empowered systems to identify skills gap and predict future needs, ensuring employees stay relevant. Create a dynamic skills taxonomy linked to your learning platform to inform upskilling and reskilling efforts.
Yeah, you see, in fact, this is something that lots of HR departments and learning departments are doing, and I believe that this could save lots of time for them to ensure that the decisions are data-driven.
Yes, it's all about efficiency and staying ahead for avoiding skills obsolescence. Okay. So, number 4, leverage AI for content creation. And we've seen that you are doing it. So 44% are already doing it.
But you say carefully, right?
Yeah, so I would add the part with care.
Okay.
Right? And this is something we've learned inside the team for the past year. Okay. So as you may know, and you are using it, there are already many AI-empowered tools in the market to accelerate content production, to create, for example, course descriptions, exercises, videos, and so on.
Patricia, maybe what would make sense as well is that you can share how you are doing this in the team, because I think that it's a good example. I do not know if it's a benchmark, but it's a really, really very, very good example. And I have seen that the results are quite impressive.
But yes, they are, but it was not an easy and smooth process, Jonathan, because the only way to learn is by using the tools, okay? And we cannot assume people know how to use them. So we had to train our teams and to show them how to balance between speed and quality. And right now, I can ensure you that we include the human oversight at every step of the process to validate and refine the outputs provided by AI. So we want to ensure accuracy and relevance.
Yeah, that's a careful part that you were mentioning before.
Oh, yes. So the last one is something that we actually didn't implement in our LMS, but we are analyzing the best way for doing it. We know learners are overloaded with information, so we believe providing real-time learning support with AI chatbots will be key for guiding the learners and fostering self-directed learning.
Yeah, in fact, can I say that 38% of our respondents in our survey say that they feel overwhelmed by the pace of change. So probably AI chatbots can really help in pointing in the right direction here, right?
For sure.
So maybe I would suggest that after these 5 actionable insights on the second point, we move on to the third. And the third topic of the presentations, quite connected, because we mentioned before, is data analytics. They are transforming how learning and HR teams are operating. They shift the focus from a rather, I would say, subjective satisfaction metrics to actionable insights that drive impact. From our survey, we can say that more organizations are leveraging from data, not only to refine training strategies, but also to personalize learning experiences and to improve outcomes. The question is no longer whether data can be used to shape learning, but rather how we can do that effectively. Before exploring what the thousands of respondents of the survey are doing or they are not doing, I think that we are quite good at doing polls right today, huh? So let's bring another question to the audience. I think that we have the question here, and I will kindly ask Valerie if you can open the poll for us. What type of learning data are you collecting? Because in order to use data, you need to have good data.
Oh, yes.
So you can vote on the right-hand side. The poll is open.
So we
know this is not an easy topic, Jonathan.
No, but it's exciting because we know the metrics. We know even I mean, we have been in the learning sector for a long time. Even when we were very, very young, even primary school, there was already the pyramid. Okay, the Kirkpatrick's model.
Ah, yes, the 4 levels.
Yes, the 4 levels, then the 5th level, and so on. But it's true that we have the course completion rates more on the reaction, but then we have a rather more elaborated metrics today. I'm really interested to know what people are collecting today.
Yes, but it's still a challenge when we speak with clients, how they are measuring return on investment from training. So we know this is a big challenge.
Yeah, the return, but what about the results, the impact, the transfer to the workplace? So what is happening with the behavioral change? And these are things that, of course, can be measured. Well, in any way, it can. The key question is, are we doing that?
So Valerie, in our audience,
what do we have?
Thank you for your votes. We have 3 elements that come up more than the others. The first one is 29% of course completion rates. The second one is 28% on reaction satisfaction surveys. And the last one is 20% on evaluation and assessment scores.
Okay, so that would be learning. Probably you see there is the reaction, there's the learning, and a little bit probably, there's ways of measuring impact.
Yes, and I see engagement metrics is a little bit lower, and well, we do know that with the new LMSs, this is something we can track, the engagement.
Absolutely. Well, can we just maybe move? I want to share some data from the barometer. Okay?
Yes, please.
So in this slide, you see that 74% of HR departments are already using learning analytics. And we see 3 main applications. 41%, it's focused on improving the learning experience. 23%, they are using data to guide their offers. 10% are working on learning personalization, on individualization. Now, what happens with the ones that are not using data analytics? Maybe they have them, but they are not using them. 9% say, okay, I have them, but I don't use them at all. And 16% are planning to start. So this, in a certain way, this pie chart shows there's a growing recognition of the value of data in individualizing courses and driving impactful L&D strategies. Patricia, on this chapter, do you have any tips for all of us who want to further exploit learning data?
Of course, Jonathan. You know how much I love data. And I'm happy to see that 74% of HR managers are already using it.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to have a cohesive data strategy, you need to define specific goals of how learning data will inform decisions. So, for example, is it for enhance the engagement? Is it to address the skills gap? And integrate data from different sources. So the LMS platforms are one source, but you can have more. Then create a roadmap that connects learning analytics to business priorities, ensuring a measurable impact on KPIs like employee retention, on team productivity. So what I can say is that it's important that you always involve IT and business leaders early to ensure data usability. And so again, this is a journey. So I know it's not easy, but you can leverage on AI-empowered analytics tools because they can provide you predictive analytics. So this will be key if you want to identify skills gaps for example, personalized learning paths. And make sure that you choose a user-friendly tool with dashboards for L&D teams and start with a pilot to test its scalability.
Patricia, I'm sorry. I wanted to take a moment when you stopped just to say, you started saying, I love data. You love data. I love data. And this is being recorded. So let's stay like this, okay? We are all in love in data, and we are not going to deny, but you know, as I know, that not everyone maybe everyone in the call is excited about data, but not everyone in their organization are used to reading and working with data. And therefore, what do we do?
For sure. And well, there is an advantage is that most of the tools that we have right now already have AI. For example, Power BI already has AI included, but it's not because you have the tools that is going to happen. So that's why you need to cultivate a data-driven decision-making culture. So by training your L&D teams to read dashboards, analytic reports, and predictive models. For example, you may host quarterly workshops to upskill HR and L&D on how to read data and data literacy and decision-making frameworks. Don't forget always to start small. For example, use data insights for one high priority program, demonstrate its value, and only then expand the approach across the organization.
You mean step by step, right? And starting with the basics, with the essentials. Data literacy first. I think that's an interesting approach.
Yes. So don't assume it's the people are born knowing how to read data.
It's not a given. Either they don't know or they don't want to in a certain way. This is what I mentioned before. I want to be correct. Don't say the odd thing here, but the reality is that sometimes we talk about data, we are in love. Not everybody is.
And sometimes this is also an issue, Jonathan, because we love data. Sometimes we have this urge to collect a lot of data, and we should not do it. We should only collect data for a specific reason.
Yeah.
So that's why my tip number 4 is please first define the KPIs and then link training to measurable business results. For example, revenue growth or time to competence. Okay. So use data to track these metrics regularly and refine them to ensure alignment with evolving business objectives. So we also recommend that you partner with your business units to identify their pain points, because then you can ensure that the learning programs are directly addressing those pain points. Okay. And finally, foster real-time learning adaptation. The idea is that you are monitoring learning engagement. So I know that many of you are not doing it, okay, from the survey, and the performance during the programs so that you can adjust the content or the methods dynamically. For example, you can add micro-learning modules for learners that you see that are becoming disengaged. At Cegos, we are already testing AI tools for adaptive learning, and we are also seeing how we can set up alerts, like automatic notifications, to know when there are some problems with engagement. So people in risk of dropping out, because like this, we can intervene quickly with personalized follow-ups or alternative strategies.
Yeah, we can say in a certain way that leveraging data and AI is critical for driving personalized learning and improving outcomes. But it is equally important to evaluate whether training methods are aligning with the evolving learner preferences. Yes. And I think that with this last point, we are in a certain way making a connection or a bridge to the 4th chapter of today.
And the last one.
Yes, which is the exploration of how the different training methods are evolving to meet the needs of and the preferences of the learners today and in the future. So we will reveal which modalities are gaining traction and how you can align methods to drive tangible results. Okay? Can I share some results?
Please do.
I want to say, in my experience working with global companies across various industries and regions, one trend is clear. The remote training is here to stay. We have witnessed a very big boost in 2020 due to the health crisis, of course. And remote training accounts today for 46% of all training, with synchronous methods taking the lead with 26%. This shows that learners value a real-time interaction, even in virtual settings. However, there have been two phenomena that slowed or balanced the growth of remote learning. One is screen fatigue, and the other is, I don't know how to put it in simple words, but I would say the human surge of proximity. The classroom training, the face-to-face, remains a strong preference for many learners. They highlight the importance of balancing the face-to-face and the digital learning methods. They want the live interaction because it plays an important role in learner engagement, what you mentioned before. And they want the asynchronous in reinforcement and transfer to workplace. The mix of modality is what empathizes this one size does not fit all. The organizations must carefully adapt their training strategies to meet evolving preferences and evolving needs. And I think that we can see some other results of the survey that go a little bit more into some of those types, okay? In fact, the ones that you see here, the 5 types listed, are the rising types of training that HR directors are using or are planning to use in the short term. You see, 49% have selected e-coaching among their top 3. E-coaching, okay? Patricia, get ready. I think I'm going to ask you a question, but let me just complete the chart. This is not a new trend. It has increased 4 points since the last year, reflecting there is a rising demand for personalized, for on-demand guidance in order to support employees effectively. The second was adaptive learning at 48%. This is integrating AI technologies to deliver tailored training experiences. It is a proof of the increasing interest of creating individualized development journeys. And meanwhile, you see that immersive learning and social learning are very critical. They have a good score, 39 and 38%. They showcase the value of collaboration and experiential methods. So all of these trends underline a clear shift towards training solutions that are not only innovative, but also responsive to diverse learner needs and preferences. And as I just mentioned, because I saw e-coaching, and Patricia, I saw e-coaching and then it came into my mind. I remembered a conversation we had about the growing interest in AI-driven coaching.
Yes. And actually, it's important to just explain the difference. So when we say e-coaching, we mean coaching done with the support of virtual platforms. So it's still human to human.
Yeah.
And when we are saying AI coaching, it means it's a human with an AI avatar. Okay. And what is interesting is that in the recent events that I've visited, we can see that the number of providers offering AI coaching solutions is rapidly increasing. This is why it's time for another question. And now I come back to the result of a previous poll where our audience was saying that 2% was using AI for AI coaching. So now my question is a little bit different. From the people in your teams that would like to have coaching, what percentage do you think would accept the guidance from an AI coach? So you see there some splits under 10%, 10 to 30. So what is the acceptance rate? And this is not let's say, a topic that everyone will have the same reply, because I do hear some studies showing some people prefer AI coach.
Yeah. Well, I have seen a lot, and in fact, for several years, using AI in order to do matching, in order to find the best coach for you, in order to define profiles, and as well to recommend some paths, some actions. But an AI as a coach, it's a different question. It's a different question.
Valérie, where are we? Tell us.
We see the votes coming in. You can still vote. It's on the right-hand side of your screen, just below the chat tab. And well, it looks like under 10 and between 10 and 30% are the highest number for the moment. And we have only 6% of your teams that would be willing. That only 6% of the people replied that over 70% of their employees would be willing to have like an AI coach.
Yes.
That's interesting.
We see the news, and sometimes there are like AI avatars going off rail. We know that.
This is real life. It's not science fiction, but you see, real life beats science fiction so many times.
Let's see. So, Valerie, have we closed the pool?
Yes, we do. We have closed the pool.
Let's see. Maybe we can dive into the actions or the action points, Patricia. So,
of course, we need to. Well, I'm just bringing you 5 tips to tackle the learning preferences challenge. The first one may sound like common sense. I'm saying, okay, please adopt a blended learning approach. But it's true that for some companies that we speak with, they still feel that they have to choose between in-person and digital training.
Yeah.
You need both, okay? So please use face-to-face for team building, hands-on skills, and you can leverage digital formats for technical skills to promote self-directed learning. So the key idea is flexibility, okay? And you need to ensure that you have both synchronous and asynchronous options.
Yeah, I would say it's an evident truth, Patricia. The blended approaches are more impactful. We have witnessed that for decades already. They are cost effective, they cater to different learning styles, and they are best to sustain the learning curve.
Oh, yeah. And it's not only creating blended for everything.
Yeah.
My second tip, I could be a whole day speaking about this, is design learning at the point of need. What do I mean? If you want to boost engagement and results, make learning accessible when and where it's needed. For example, for new skills, of course, you can focus on formal training. But if it's for refreshing knowledge, why not creating a virtual simulation that mimic real-world work scenarios? And we also recommend fostering on-the-job learning by creating structured mentoring programs and enabling peer-to-peer collaboration opportunities. So, third, this is not new, okay? So again, even before joining Cegos in 1997, we were creating, let's say, games for education. But in our survey, we see that 42% of employees say they expect training to be more interactive and enjoyable. So even topics like compliance can engage learners if they are gamified and you add some social elements.
You said, Patricia, you said compliance, and I have witnessed, let's say, several cases of compliance modules that have been transformed into something engaging. They were tedious, and they were really engaging simply with adding a point system, a team challenge, leaderboards. This can really make a difference.
For sure. And maybe the more boring the content is, the more important it is to think about them.
Absolutely.
And then something that you already said, Jonathan, today is, don't forget that one size does not fit all. And our survey showed that 38% of employees expect more personalized learning. So we should match the depth and duration of training delivery to the problem it is seeking to solve. Learning content should be personalized and adapted to different learner needs, profiles, and context of how they work and how they will learn.
Absolutely. Personal training is not only something that increases engagement, it is also a catalyst for workplace transfer. As we know, we don't want people only to learn, we want them to get bigger and better results.
And in some ways, this is linked to our last tip, because if it's personalized, usually it's less because it's directly linked to what the person needs. So our last tip is sometimes less is more, and you need to focus on what is relevant. Please avoid overwhelming learners with too much information and provide them access to self-directed platforms where they can manage their development with short, on-demand content like micro-learning, podcasts, quick quizzes. So remember that relevance is the cornerstone of effective learning. people will retain what is meaningful to them.
Absolutely. What is meaningful? This is spot on. When learning aligns with the goals, it sticks. And we learn to achieve bigger and better results. So relevance is, I would say, king for today's workforce, which is most times very busy and very time constrained. And I said time constrained, and I was looking at the hour. It's 55 past. So I think that we are reaching the end of the session, but it would be good, and probably Valerie, you can help us out here because we have been sharing lots of interesting insights. Can you help us summarize?
Definitely.
Which are the 4 key takeaways? I'm making it easy. 4 key takeaways from everything that we have shared today.
Thank you very much, Patricia. Thank you very much, Jonathan, for all you've shared. So we've actually looked at all that has been shared. And if there would be 4 major takeaways to remember from all that we've seen today, it would be agile to reduce time to competency. Start with strategy, not skills. So focus on the strategy first and then develop a skill plan that is flexible and scalable to align learning with real world needs. Then the second one is how to tackle the AI challenge in learning. Start with an AI impact assessment. Keep it transparent to develop trust, and use an AI smartly for skills, content, and real-time support. The third takeaway that you can go away with is to start small while building a data-driven culture. Focus on clear goals and use learning data to drive real business results. And the last one about personalizing training. Use a blended approach and focus on what really matters, what is relevant, as said Jonathan, to keep your learner engaged. So these are the 4 major takeaways from the survey. But as you've heard, there are so many more. We've actually shared all that we could think of on those 4 specific subjects with regard to the survey results and with regard to today's L&D trends.
In 1 hour.
In just 1 hour.
In just 1 hour.
We have a few minutes left for any questions, if you have any. So we have... Okay.
I could see, Valerie, someone asking, how could we keep in touch?
Yes, definitely. So to keep in touch. Okay. So you have the way to keep in touch is to go to the Cegos website. On the Cegos.com website, you have quite a lot of information there about our solutions. What we've also discussed today. In the blog, you have some information touching on what we've discussed today. You can download the survey from there. Marie is going to share the link in the chat for you. And then you can also contact us through the Cegos.com website to keep in touch.
And please, I do recommend that you see the results of the barometer deeper, because in 1 hour we could not share a lot.
We did as much as we could. But yes. And also, I think that what is interesting is that we went a little bit further than the number, trying to give some of the ideas that you can bring back home. But of course, we're always very happy to continue those conversations. I was going to say they can bring questions. They can also make comments. If it's not a question, we appreciate that.
Okay, and like you were saying, Jonathan, we do bring 5 tips for each topic. They may seem a little theoretical, but they are not. They are actually based on things that we've been doing for us and our clients. So it's easy to do an action plan based on those tips.
Absolutely. Florenza, thanks a lot for your feedback. We're really very happy, and we are also we are also learning here. We are also being excited by the observations that we see, and really trying to make something useful out of these trends. Oh, and you will go deeper into Gen AI. That is fantastic.
Yes. And actually, we did another survey about Gen AI, and we can see that the more people are using, the more they say it's useful. So there is like a snowball effect.
Yeah, it's a virtuous cycle. The more you get in there, the more you like it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks for your feedback.
Thank you very much for your feedback, for all you've shared. Don't hesitate to contact us with the cegos.com website if you want to have to go deeper in this conversation. Marie shared the link to the survey in the chat, so you can actually click there and you will be able to download the whole of the survey results. Because what we showed today is actually a very small part of all the results that we have. But Patricia and Jonathan felt that they were the most appealing results to really go deeper and give you actionable takeaways afterwards. So thank you everybody for following this webinar, for sharing, for participating to the poll, and we look forward to seeing you in another webinar soon.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.